maybe they will say that women's voices are forbidden.
Did you ever imagine that you would be prevented from going to school?
Girls' education is fundamental to the dignity of afterlife.
Do you believe that young girls will be allowed to go to school here in Afghanistan?
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
The UEFA Champions League final is almost upon us, 3 hours to kick off, but hey, who's counting? Real Madrid, Liverpool, Ancelotti, Klopp, an absolute blockbuster awaits us at the famed Stade de France, and we're taking you right there. And our teams in Paris, Madrid and Liverpool are ready and waiting. We have you covered every step of the way as this special live edition of CNN World Sport begins right now. Hi there, thanks for joining us. Welcome to CNN World Sport as we edge ever closer now to kick off in today's absolutely huge Champions League final in the French capital city of Paris. Two of football's most storied and decorated names, Real Madrid seeking to become champions of Europe for a record-extending 14th time, and English giants Liverpool going for number 7. So much at stake, but both teams' high-profile head coaches appear, at least, to be taking it all in their stride. Take a listen.
Ja, no, soy muy triste.
Me? No, I'm really sad. No, I really enjoy it. I've been very satisfied this year. I'm really enjoying this time in my life with this club and these players. I've been enjoying myself. I'm really happy today. I am relaxed.
Would be without that Champions League final would be a great season. With the Champions League, winning the Champions League would be a fantastic season, easy as that. So there are still levels. That's absolutely fine.
All right, without further ado, let's get straight out to the Stade de France in Paris, where we are thrilled to bring in CNN World Sports' Alex Thomas and CNN senior sports analyst Darren Lewis. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Paris, what a place to be on this day. Alex, the atmosphere is going to be electric come kickoff there. It must be building up very nicely indeed right now as we get ever closer to the big kickoff. What do you say?
Patrick, don't let the sirens in the background fool you. Mother Nature and the footballing gods have done everything they can to set up arguably a perfect Champions League final on paper. Yes, the players still have to deliver, but two historic teams when it comes to this competition, steeped in the history of the biggest club tournament on the continent. And it's almost impossible to pick a winner, but what we've seen through the day, Darren, I hope you'll agree, it's just a great atmosphere because everyone can taste the possibility of a fantastic game.
Absolutely, they're two big teams and their fan bases are massive, and right across France this afternoon what we've been seeing is the fans lapping up the occasion, having some fun in the sun. It's a 17th final for Real Madrid, it's a third in 5 years for Liverpool. They're getting used to the big occasion and they are really relishing. I've got to just say, while we are talking, you can hear you can smell the smell of flares that are being let off. All very good-natured, a few yards away from us in the parks, and you can hear the fans having some fun. It's the kind of good-natured occasion that a Champions League should be.
Absolutely. We've got so many supporters that have come here from Spain and England, respectively. There are not enough tickets to go round. We've been asked several times when we've been standing here by the canal that borders the Stade de France to see if we've got a spare one. There's a fan zone for Real Madrid fans in that direction. There's a separate one elsewhere in the city for Liverpool supporters as well. Easy for the Real Madrid fans to come here by road or rail. Liverpool fans have taken any route possible to cross the short expanse of water between the UK and the continent. But whether people get here in person or watch on TV, they're just going to be glued to this game because, as you said, mouth-watering prospect down. And set up by two managers who very soon the talking will stop for, and they will have to see if their tactics work on the pitch from squads that they've lovingly kind of coaxed along throughout the course of the last 9 months or so. And particularly for Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti, whose quiet demeanour means he gets overshadowed by some of the big characters in the game. This could really be the moment that he's vindicated for being a superstar of a coach.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he is standing on the shoulders of history at the moment, because if he were to win tonight, he would stand alone as the only manager to win 4 Champions Leagues. He is a guy who gets the best out of young players, older players. He's got 2 21-year-olds in Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo, the Brazilian rising stars, both 21. Vinicius has scored 21 goals so far this season for club and country, and Rodrigo has scored 6 in his last 10. But between them, Alex, Karim Benzema, 15 goals so far this season in the Champions League. The 3 of them seeing off lots of English teams on the way here. Set against that Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, just 3 defeats in 62 matches in all competitions so far this season. He has lifted them from the ashes and the doldrums, if you like, over the last 7 years or so. This should be an epic contest between 2 great tacticians.
And when you examine where it might be won or lost on the pitch, it's almost impossible to identify the exact areas. But what is absolutely a thrilling prospect is that battle on the flanks, on the wings, where Liverpool are so good in defence and attack because of amazing fullbacks, and Real Madrid have really prospered in getting through some tough teams using Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo when he's come on as a sub.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where the game, I think, will be won and lost, because Vinicius Junior has formed that partnership with Karim Benzema to undo the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Manchester City, the likes of PSG as well. So Liverpool will have to make sure they keep them quiet, or, as I suspect, they will fight fire with fire, because if you look at the 3 players in their forward line, and bear in mind they could pick any one of 6 players to play in those front 3 positions. You have Mane, you have Salah, you have Diaz, you have Firmino. There are so many talents that we on World Sport have talked about for so long over the last 10 months. They're big players for big games, just like this one. I think it's going to be a classic.
And interestingly, this is the 3rd time these 2 teams will face each other in the final of the Champions League or the European Cup, as it was known beforehand. No other 2 teams have managed that before. We've had lots of times when they've played each other twice, including with Ancelotti's Milan against Liverpool twice in 3 years, not so long ago. And that's slightly surprising given the pedigree that both teams have in this competition. But while Liverpool beat Real Madrid the first 3 times they faced them in this competition, including the 1981 final back here in Paris, except at the Parc des Princes, not the Stade de France, it's been very much all Real Madrid since then. And what's interesting about this club is they've suddenly refound their identity under Ancelotti, when we thought they were going to have to spend mega money on Kylian Mbappe, who's now not coming to Real Madrid next season.
Yeah, and I think that will really help that forward line, because of course Karim Benzema, he's their star striker. He will continue to have the confidence of knowing that he will operate without somebody looking over his shoulder who could take his first team place. And then on either side, as I've been saying before, the 2 Brazilian superstars, they will have a settled forward line and an understanding with Benzema. I just think as far as Real Madrid are concerned, though, you're right. Ancelotti has come back to the club where he lifted the Champions League, of course, and he has given them so much confidence. He is not a demonstrative manager. He's not someone you'll see on the touchline ranting and raving and shouting and screaming. He is someone who stays calm and empowers his players. That's why they get the best out of themselves and really do express themselves in big matches just like this one. The front page of the Spanish Daily Marca described this as a super final. They had the number 13 on the Champions League match ball with a little 4 underneath it, hoping they could maybe add
14
to that. Well, indeed, well, indeed.
Yeah, the 4 underneath the 3, exactly. Despite Darren's aberration for Ancelotti, you think Liverpool are going to win, but it's so hard to tell. What we do all agree on, as we've been chatting throughout the day, is that there has to be goals from 2 teams that know no other way than to press forward. Patrick?
Guys, thank you so much. Yes, goals and great storylines everywhere you look. Alex and Darren, thank you so much for joining us today there from Paris. All right, CNN World Sport covering this final. You can count on it from every single angle. We've got the crews there in Paris. We're going to Liverpool, Madrid, and we're live for you right after the game as well at midnight Madrid time, 11 p.m. if you're watching us in Liverpool. It's 6 p.m. right here in the United States, 6 p.m. Eastern as well. Before that, though, we're going to take you to 2 cities guaranteed to be vibrant in the build-up to kickoff. We're headed to the site of the eventual winner. That much I know for sure. But which city will be celebrating tonight? Madrid or Liverpool?
We are from Madrid. and today we expect to win, of course. In a minute 7, Benzema will score, pass on Vinicius, that will be the 1-0, and at the end, when we are winning 4-1, Marcelo will come out to play some minutes.
The last minute.
I'm expecting a tough game tonight. I do genuinely believe, because the Premier League is stronger than La Liga, so I do believe we do have a stronger team than Madrid. But Madrid do have that habit, as we did in Istanbul, of producing special magic in the Champions League. So I think anything can happen. It's whoever turns up on the night. Anything can happen. I think extra time, and we'll win in extra time.
Wherever you go in the world, one airline goes further to make it feel exceptional. Qatar Airways, going places together.
Bring the energy.
Welcome to the draft.
Three pros, one amateur. Let's go.
South Korea's new president, Yoon Suk-yeol, sits down with CNN in an exclusive interview. Fresh from an international summit with US President Biden. See what this former prosecutor has to say about the threat of North Korea.
What would your message to Kim Jong-un be?
Plus, his thoughts on the new American-led economic pact to counter a rising China.
Are you anticipating a new kind of relationship with China?
Talk Asia, tonight on CNN.
We're counting down then to today's huge Champions League final at the famed Stade de France in Paris. There it is live right outside the Stade de France as the tournament's most successful club, Real Madrid, seeking a record-extending 14th title. They hope Liverpool themselves, have really good pedigree in this competition as well. The Reds are 6-time winners. This also a rematch, as we said earlier, of the 81 final, won by Liverpool in Paris, so that one at the Parc des Princes. Let's crank up the atmosphere now and bring in CNN Sports contributor Ravi Uber, who's outside Liverpool's home stadium of Anfield for us today, and in Madrid as well at the Bernabeu. Delighted to be joined by the Spanish football expert Phil Kitromilides. Ravi, I used to live and work in Liverpool. We come to you first, Ravi. I know just how passionate the Reds fans are. Paint a picture for us. Are excitement levels at fever pitch right now? I imagine pretty close.
Yeah, Patrick, the atmosphere at Anfield is building very nicely. As you might imagine, a sea of red. We've seen fans in their red jerseys. There's a stall just to my left that are selling scarves and flags in front of the famous Kop. Fans have been going inside the stadium, inside the shop, so really getting into the feel. Cars have been coming by, honking their horns, and I can tell you, as you know, Patrick, cabbies are often the pulse of a city. They're looking forward to the game, but not necessarily if Liverpool win being in the city centre, because it is going to come to a bit of a standstill. Now, the one thing I want to pass along in terms of team news might be who's going to play along Virgil van Dijk in the centre of defence for Liverpool. Is it going to be Matip or is it going to be Konaté? That has been a talking point with the fans, and I've asked a whole bunch of them as they've come by, and I think the consensus is they'd like to see Joel Matip partnering Virgil van Dijk, but we'll see how it all plays out. It's such a big game for Liverpool, Patrick. The last English side to complete a treble that included a European title, 1999, and Manchester United, so a long, long time ago.
All right, Ravi, thank you so much. Let's get to Phil. Phil, thanks so much for joining us today from the Spanish capital. Real Madrid, 13-time winners of this competition, but I'm sure their fans never tire of winning it, right? How special is the atmosphere where you are at the moment?
The atmosphere is building in a spectacular fashion, Patrick. Thousands and thousands of fans have been turning up here outside the Santiago Bernabeu for the last few hours. The game's going to be shown here on big screens. The sun is shining and everyone's happy and jovial and also pretty confident. And I think they're confident for three reasons. One, Real Madrid's run to this final, which has seen those extraordinary comebacks against PSG, Chelsea and Manchester City. It kind of feels like their name is written on the cup. It's destiny. Two, well, it's the European Cup. It's Real Madrid. They've won it more times than anyone else, as you said, and when they're in a European final, they expect to win. And three, the form of their best players. Thibaut Courtois, the goalkeeper, had his best season ever, and Karim Benzema, the striker, has scored more goals this season than he ever has. So if your goalkeeper's in the form of their life and your striker's in the form of your life, you've got a real good chance of winning the game.
Yeah, it's pretty good when you put it that way, Phil, I will say. Ravi, back to you. Liverpool star Mo Salah has said he wants revenge after his team tasted defeat to Real in the 2018 final. He went off injured as well in that final. How much is all that, do you feel, a motivating factor for him ahead of this one?
Well, you know, Patrick, you're using the word, he used the word revenge, and oftentimes when a player says that, it can be fodder for the opposition, but it just tells you how motivated he is to do well after the 2018 final when he was injured, and then from that point on, it really went pear-shaped in that final. Now, for himself, in terms of the scoring, he's been in a bit of a drought. He recently ended a drought of 7 games in which he hadn't scored. That was last weekend against Wolves. So I think he really wants to come out and on this massive stage prove himself, because there is a lot to play for. We were talking about what it means to Liverpool. Well, for Mo Salah, obviously the accolades are coming thick and fast on the individual front, but collectively, he missed out on the AFCON title. Made it to the final, losing to Senegal. And then a World Cup qualifying, again falling to Senegal, again on penalty. So if he's not able to win the Champions League title, I think it would be a devastating blow for him, collectively also for Liverpool, having been so close to completing the quadruple. And if they only get the 2, I say the only 2, well, it would be the lesser of the 2 trophies that they would want.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool fans desperate to win it. Phil, let's bring you back in. You mentioned Karim Benzema before, a goal machine all season long, right, for this Real Madrid team. But I want to ask you, where would Los Blancos be without him, do you think?
They wouldn't be in the final, Patrick, that's for sure. Absolutely extraordinary, his form in the knockout stages, those back-to-back hat-tricks against Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea. 44 goals in 45 matches this season in all competitions. Those are the kind of figures that we generally used to associate with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, who's not here anymore, and Lionel Messi, who is in Paris playing for PSG. But Benzema has stepped up this season, and he's the leader. He's the leader of this Real Madrid side, and they're talking about a Ballon d'Or here in the Spanish capital for Karim Benzema. That talk, I'm sure, will increase a lot if they win the Champions League this evening.
All right, we shall see. Thank you so much, guys. Ravi there in Liverpool, Phil in Madrid. We really appreciate your time as the excitement mounts ahead of kickoff. Thank you, guys. Well, ahead, it's the very latest from the race to make the NBA Finals. A real treat for Miami fans as we bring you the latest installment of the Jimmy Butler Show. That's next. Stay with us.
Shortly in South Africa. Sunny day in Cape Town and
invite you with open arms to our wonderful country.
Back with qualifying now ahead of Sunday's Monaco Grand Prix down there amid all the glamour and glitz of the French Riviera. Earlier this day, Ferrari star Charles Leclerc securing pole position for his home Grand Prix for the second year in a row. But drama aplenty when a crash stopping qualifying with 30 seconds remaining. Leclerc joining on the front row, joined there by Spanish teammate Carlos Sainz. Sainz actually couldn't complete his final lap after running into Sergio Perez's crashed Red Bull with the cars blocking the track. Perez qualifying third, world champion Max Verstappen in fourth. Here in the United States, the NBA playoffs remaining front and center right now. The Miami Heat in a win or go home Game 6 on the road against the Celtics Friday night. Jimmy Butler willing his team to the win, turning defense into offense and overpowering the best defense in the league when it mattered most here. 17 points in the fourth quarter alone, including his biggest bucket of the season. Under a minute to go, Butler hitting the turnaround fadeaway jumper as the shot clock expires to seal the victory. You know, he had a playoff career high 47 points, series level at 3 apiece, and that means Game 7 in Miami Sunday night. Well, getting ever closer now to kick-off in the French capital. Next up, shining the spotlight on Liverpool star Luis Diaz, and just wait till you see this young Colombian's powerful life story to make today's final in Paris even possible in the first place.
Egypt is transitioning towards a sustainable, circular economy. Through the opening of the Gabal Al Asfar wastewater treatment plant, it is using treated water to irrigate agricultural land and is producing organic fertilizers. The plant has been designed to reduce waste and optimizes the use of water resources. It generates electricity and saves carbon emissions, ensuring that over 8 million people across the country live better, healthier lives.
Have you heard it like this?
Let's untangle the players and political forces.
Fast-paced news from the perspective of The Global Brief with Bianca Nobilo. Weeknights on CNN.
Our mission here at CNN, the news comes first. You really work as hard as you can getting the facts. It is critically important.
To our viewers in the United States and around the world, welcome to the Situation Room. We have breaking news.
The world's biggest business stories in one place. Expert analysis from every corner of the globe. Marketplace, Africa, Asia, Europe, and Middle East. With CNNBusiness.com.
Once in a generation opportunity.
Technology, innovation, business.
Well, we're back with one player now that Real Madrid will have to keep a very close eye on indeed. This in today's UEFA Champions League final. That would be Liverpool's young Colombian star, Luis Diaz, whose life story really is very powerful indeed. The 25-year-old playing a really key role as well in the Reds' success since arriving at the club in January. CNN's Stefano Pozzebon now from his hometown where his remarkable story began.
This might not be the real cup, but the passion is the same. The small Colombian city of Barrancas is 7,700 kilometers from Anfield, but the simple home bleeds red. Barrancas is the home city of Luis Diaz, a Colombian winger who has exploded since moving from Porto to Liverpool in January.
He fits like a glove to our football, and that's really, really special.
And now, Diaz has the opportunity of doing something that no Colombian player has done before him: to play in the Champions League final and win it. Here, everybody has a story about the champion, from neighbors
play with one shoe and one flip-flop
to cousins.
One day we were playing a tournament. The top scorer had scored 13 goals in 2 matches before. He took him over in 1 match only, scored 17 goals, 1 match.
and former coaches.
Once, I subbed him off and he took his shirt off and was all angry, said he'd quit football. He must have been 11.
This is where it all began. Barefoot on a bare pitch.
So this is, you're telling me, is the football pitch where he learned to play football?
This is the pitch, and now they are making improvements. If you had come here before, it was even worse.
The region surrounding Barrancas is one of the poorest in Colombia. It boasts beautiful landscapes, but offers little employment opportunities. In town, the coal mine is the largest job provider. It's a tough life for those without jobs. Hundreds of kids from the Wayuu indigenous people suffer from malnutrition. Something Diaz himself has begun to tackle with the establishment of a charity, Fundación Luis Diaz. It is managed by his cousin, who says he also would have ended up in the coal pit if Diaz didn't strike gold on the pitch. Now, he envisions a new football academy in Barrancas with a school and training facilities for potential footballers.
It seems to me you guys really have a lot of big plans, like the career of these guys taking over and you guys are going all in.
Yes. The idea is to take advantage of this mine of players we have here. Maybe we can show how Lucho got to the top, and we want kids to look at him as a point of reference to keep fighting and going all in.
It's a high bar for those kids, as Diaz is one of the stars of the Liverpool squad that has already won 2 trophies this season. Each of them duly celebrated by his own grandfather. From here, only the sky is the limit. Stefano Pozzebon, CNN.
Well, thanks to Stefano, their incredible story. Well, you know, for every Luis Diaz, Real Madrid can counter with the likes of clutch, goal-scoring Rodrigo. What a talent he is. Reminder, it all starts in just over 2.5 hours from right now. We can't wait. Our teams in Paris, Madrid, Liverpool, right here in Atlanta. We got you covered. Thanks for joining us. World Sport returning midnight in Paris, 6 p.m. Eastern here in the US. Stay with CNN. Enjoy your day.
What do you see when you look at the surface? Just that, the surface. But dive deeper and new possibilities emerge. Essential intelligence from S&P Global takes you here, providing the data, risk assessment, and workflow solutions you need to plumb the wonders beneath. A better, more prosperous future awaits. It's yours for the seeking. S&P Global. Seek and prosper.
Business is all about making connections. But some connections are easier to make than others. With a CNN partner hotel, the world is always at your fingertips. CNN partner hotels, connected to your world.
Afghan women are afraid that this is the beginning of your efforts to erase them from the workspace.
Malumnis, it's not clear. Even if we appear with the burqa, maybe they will say that women's voices are forbidden.
Did you ever imagine that you would be prevented from going to school?
Girls' education is fundamental to the dignity of Afghan life.
Do you believe that young girls will be allowed to go to school here in Afghanistan?
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.
In the shadows of the Drakensberg Mountains stands a prestigious performing arts school for young boys from all over the world.
The magic of what we do here is to train these boys to tap into that immense talent that we have and to turn them into world-class choristers and performers.
7, 8, 2.
A school that's one of a kind on the continent and rooted in tradition.
It is important to keep the African heritage and these songs alive.
And surviving the tests of modern times.
We're in the auditorium now. That's a 600-seater. And what do you do when all of a sudden you're not allowed to put people in chairs?
Shaping young minds while allowing them to express their artistic talent. This is the Drakensberg Boys Choir School. This is Inside Africa. At the foot of the central Drakensberg mountain range in Winterton, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, one can hear delightful harmonies blending in with beautiful surroundings. As we follow the sound, our ears lead us to the Ken Mackenzie Auditorium.
William, go to the space. Listen up. Z. If you are in the seekers group, you come all the way down over these bunkies, this one, that one, this one, into this space.
The Drakensberg Boys Choir is warming up and preparing for an upcoming concert. Today's rehearsal, led by choreographer Zakele Nkosi, wants to try something new.
We are obviously transforming the space, the bunkies. Normally these bunkies will be in a sort of semi-circular shape or what, a V shape. So we want to actually transform that so that we start making this into be looking more like a production instead of just a choir concert.
Founded in 1967, the school places a heavy emphasis on music to set up boys for success in life.
20 boys enrolled in 1967, and by the early 1970s there were over 100 boys here in the school. Testament to the Tange family, but also the product of what they were producing here and just the excitement of being part of a choir which very soon became world-class.
Boys in the choir range in age from 9 to 15 years old and arrive at the school having lived through different experiences.
We have boys from different backgrounds, some of them literally from very rural homes, yet they come here, they share a common vision of being on that stage, representing their school, their country, and just sharing the absolute pleasure of singing.
From the school's very beginning, it was clear the founders had tapped into something special inside these halls.
When the school started in 1967, it didn't take long for this boys' choir to become popular. And it didn't take long to start making a name internationally. So much so that in its 15 years of existence, which was in 1983, the choir was invited to go and perform in the Vatican City for the Pope.
The choir would also perform for then-President Nelson Mandela in 1995. Back at choir rehearsals, the boys have a history of great performances to live up to. They're working to perfect their parts for an upcoming show. And as choreographer Zakele Nkosi points out, they are setting an example that sings louder than any choir.
The school has actually become multiracial. And as you could see, our boys are both black and white. You've got Indian, got colored in the school. It is highly important that people actually see this embracement of different cultures into the school. I mean, our country right now is actually yearning to see more of that actually happening.
It takes a lot of work to prepare for a show. But before the boys can get to that point, first they have to qualify.
Every new boy who comes into the school has got to go through a training program with a whole series of tests. The progress that they make is eventually the boys will be able to follow a musical score and read it and understand it. So the one is a quartet audition where the new boy has to do a quartet audition. Then he's got to do audition with 3 other boys who are experienced choristers. And once he's passed that audition, he will go through to his solo audition. And the grade 9s, who are the seniors, then vote. And then if he's ready, then he's granted concert status. That's so nice. Okay. Well done, everybody.
It's early mornings and late nights, but these boys have a big goal in mind.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
20,000 naira for free. 20,000 naira bonus. Is your line blocked? Then move to Glow.
I'm reconnected.
Because we've all reconnected. And it's simple. Dial *109# and link your NIN to your new or existing Glow number.
Get up to 20,000 naira for free with Glow.
20,000 naira bonus free.
Yes, sir, free.
Niger, what are you waiting for?
Try to be global and we try to be smart. But I want to hear our authentic voices of people who are passionate or intelligent, and that's the consistency that we try to get at.
Fareed Zakaria GPS, Sundays on CNN.
Here we go, 1, 2, 3.
Drakensberg Boys Choir School is the only boys choir school on the continent of Africa and one of very few in the world.
Here in the school halls, preparation and meticulous attention to detail are part of the school's DNA, along with another important characteristic.
If you don't have discipline at the school, it's a huge problem because as we run on a tight schedule, it's really hard to actually do all of that unless you have a very good self-discipline. Like you can't procrastinate with your homework because you're gonna fall behind. You need to learn all your songs in time, otherwise you're basically not gonna be performing at all.
For students like Brett Ferniho, a typical school day is anything but.
An average schoolboy won't be put through his paces like boys are here. It's an early start to the day, it's a late finish to the day, and there are very few gaps in between where the boys can stop and gather themselves, but somehow they get onto the treadmill, as we call it here.
What happens, apart from choral rehearsals, which is at probably 10 hours a week that they rehearse with the choir, which is an education in itself. But over and above that, they have 2 periods of music theory a week.
So, what do you notice about the first words?
They have 2 periods of oral training a week and 1 period either of music appreciation or music production lessons a week. So that they almost have 16 to 17 musical happenings a week if you still count that they perform twice a week in front of a paying audience in the auditorium that was built specially for them.
And that's just the music curriculum.
The academic program, which obviously can't be overlooked, the importance of that is absolutely essential because the boys move on from here to go on to other schools where they have to complete their academic schooling.
Samkelo Mdakane, a former member of the choir who is currently continuing his studies, considers himself a testament to the school's mission.
My time at Drakensberg Boys Choir started in 2016 and went from 2020. So that's where I got to get the knowledge of music, choir singing, learning instruments, touring abroad. That for me as a musician was really the stepping stone to my future. That's where I started loving music and composing music.
He continues to pursue music, now creating music for other choirs.
So the piece I composed for 2 sets of choirs. It's called It Will Come Again, and it was inspired by the COVID-19 pandemic, and the message was the rain will come again to wash away all our sorrows, and normality will come back.
The Drakensberg School may be rigorous, but it doesn't mean there's no time for fun.
Running, cycling, soccer, rugby, depending on the season. And then we also have an outdoor program where the boys have the opportunity to hike in these beautiful mountains behind us here.
I think in a nutshell it's the combination of nature and culture. Because we live in the most beautiful surroundings, we living in the central Drakensberg, but at the same time we nurture our boys culturally to be professional musicians. They're professional choristers, but then they can also go and they can run into the mountains, and we have that beauty of nature as well open to us.
I'm gonna fall down.
A place for students to re-energize and find inspiration.
We have beautiful animals that lurk around the school grounds at night and in the mornings. We have the beautiful mountain which we look up to every morning when we wake up. And I think it's a very good place and a good environment where we can all work together and get things done.
On that note, it's back to work for Vaughan and the boys' choir. There's still that upcoming show to rehearse for.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
You can help the refugees from Ukraine.
Join the over 80,000 who've already raised millions for food, shelter, and more. Explore cnn.com/impact. Click to take action.
I would describe One World as compelling, inclusive, and original.
One World with Zain Asher, weeknights on CNN.
At the base of the central Drakensberg mountain range sits the internationally known Drakensberg Boys Choir School. The school is a one-of-its-kind in Africa and is known for its high-energy performances and harmonious sound.
You have the freedom to actually move. Yep.
And then go back and end off, like you can end off here.
Ahead of an upcoming performance, choreographer Zakile Nkosi is teaming up with instructor Tristan Trent to change up a typical choir concert.
We came up with an idea that we have to make this into look like a production. How do we do that? Costuming, props, transforming the stage, which you see here.
The boys are also learning new choreography to enhance their performances. The choir takes pride in being able to sing, interpret, and perform any genre of music, from classical to pop to African.
A lot of these songs are culturally significant. They are a heritage, songs that come from the struggle in South Africa, but also songs that come from before that, you know, songs like Shosholoza, which is actually a mining song, and it's stuff that almost gets passed down generation to generation to remind us of who we are, remind us of our culture. You know, when the world hears African, they traditionally think of black people, but we as African are a multicultural society, and our hearts beat the same language.
While they have integrated new genres and choreography, they have also introduced music production into their curriculum. The courses give students the opportunity to learn how to produce their own music, as well as insight into the inner workings of the music industry.
We teach it to the older boys. Teaching production is more about actually going, hey guys, I can give you a skill that you could actually make a career of. You can actually make money out of this, but you're learning it at 14. You're not learning it at 20 in university. And the best part about it is you're learning it on a cell phone.
And that's music to Awande's ears.
A lot of us at the school actually want to become music producers when we're older. So I think it's such a good asset and a good facility to have, that we have people teaching us about how to produce music, how to auto-tune and twist and play around with things. It really helps us understand more about music and how to release stuff. And I think now that we're recording so much, I think it's very good to actually know how the production system works around here. And I think it would be a very good asset for us one day.
Tone, ready? This room is not really conducive for a choir, so I would pretty much bring in smaller groups at a time and overdub, and then bring in another group of boys and another group until eventually we have the whole choir.
The course also teaches them how to use what they have, opening new avenues to create music. Production studios are no longer the only option.
People are not moving towards, you know, these big corporations because they're realizing that, A, with a laptop and a cheap microphone, I can put out stuff that is as good as the biggest industry, the biggest studios in the planet. Because it's not necessarily about what tools you have, it's how you use it.
Finding workarounds to obstacles. It's a lesson that paid off when the COVID-19 pandemic hit.
The Drakensberg Boys Choir, I mean, it's a South African treasure. And that is a scary prospect, is when your whole identity is based on people in the door. It's scary. When you've never done, you know, a digital anything really.
The school thrives on live performances, which meant a rapid shift had to occur to adapt to a new world.
We're in the auditorium now. That's a 600-seater. And what do you do when all of a sudden you're not allowed to put people in chairs? We needed to find a way to attract a new audience. And the younger generation is the audience that are consuming content. So for us, it was about how do we attract that new audience and show that Dra Keys is not only still relevant, but still relevant to everybody. And one of the biggest parts of this pandemic has been how are we still being current, but still maintaining the identity of who we are.
An unexpected learning opportunity for both instructors and students.
We had to adapt to different situations. We had to start posting on social media platforms. We had to get used to that whole new genre, because if we didn't provide that, we were going to get forgotten in the whole chaos. And that's the one thing that we cannot afford.
I think it was a really good idea, and I think it's a new step forward for our school, and I think it's going to be a thing that's gradually continuing forward.
Using social media to enhance the school's reach played right into the strengths of modern teenagers.
It took a genius of an artistic director and some passion on his part and technical skills to decide that we're going to can get the boys to film themselves, record themselves in their own homes, and very skillfully they put together videos, music videos that were then published on various platforms, and that tied in very much with the new vision of the school, which is to actually record content and get it out across the globe on the platforms. And that was, I believe, the birth of something which we're seeing happening more and more for us as a school now.
An evolution that not only makes good business sense, but is returning emotional dividends as well.
We've seen the momentum, we've seen the impact that it has on the boys when they themselves see themselves on the platforms and they can share it with their family members around the world, literally. So the momentum is picking up, and I believe that there's greater and greater buy-in as they see the boys doing their thing in a different format.
Producing a future that can withstand the tests of modern times.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank with presence in major financial centers across the world, with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with best-in-class financial solutions from a superb combination of technology and human touch for easy, fast and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
The Drakensberg Boys Choir is going through final rehearsals, hours before their concert. As with anything worth doing, practice makes perfect. It is this kind of dedication that audiences have come to expect from the choir's performances.
We carefully plot out the stage, we carefully choreograph. As you can see behind us is Coach working with the boys, plotting out what would happen in a general live performance. And we're working on our African program, so it's not only necessarily pop music that we do, but also the African side of music to bring in that audience as well.
And for the students who work through hours and hours of music education each week, it all comes down to the live performance.
We are now entering the second half, which is our traditional African music where we dance and sing and play the drums and gumboots. It gives us a lot of excitement because we get to meet